Hello, farmers, and welcome to the harvest season. My name is Al, and I've got a bit of a different episode for you today. So, first of all, I'm going to tell you what I've been playing, which is normal. We've got a few bits of news, including one big bit of news that dropped just after the last episode was recorded, which was very annoying. And then I'm going to go into a little bit of detail about the Stardew Valley Collector's Edition, which has just come out, and I literally received today. I've done a little unboxing for it. I don't know how well it's going to work on a podcast. If it doesn't work very well, I'll probably trim it down quite a lot. We'll see. But yeah, I should have at least some photos and possibly a video coming out as well, which I will link to in the show notes. I honestly don't know how well it's going to come out. Sorry if it's rubbish listening. I'll try and trim it down to make it as good listening as possible. So yeah, that's the podcast. So first off, what have I been playing? I have mostly been playing Pokemon Sword and Shield again. I've been doing a lot of hunting for shiny legendaries in the Dynamax Adventures. On top of that, I've been playing a couple of bits and pieces here and there. I'm back into Ring Fit, which is good fun. And yeah, that's about it for me. Life's very busy for games just now. Yeah, I'm looking forward to some new games coming out. But currently, I'm not putting a huge amount of time into any farming games, I don't think. Although I definitely will be soon, as we'll come into. So the first and biggest piece of news is that we had an announcement of a new Story of Seasons game. So this is Story of Seasons Pioneers of Olivetown. This game is coming out in spring of 2021. It's coming out in February in Japan. In North America, it's coming out on the 23rd of March. And in Europe and Australia, it's coming out on the 26th of March, a whole 3 days difference there. Now, first interesting thing I found about that is that there's only about a month between it coming out in Japan and coming out in the rest of the world. And that's very quick. So they have obviously done something to speed up the translation, or they've started translating before they finish the game. I'm not really sure. Maybe we'll find out. But this is a very fast turnaround from one to the other. The other interesting thing is that they're only announcing this, was that 4 or 5 months in advance? And that's both release dates for Japan and the rest of the world, which is very interesting. So there seems to be quite a lot of character customization in this game as well, which is obviously good. Not sure to what extent that is, but there does seem to be some quite substantial character customization. So we'll look into that, and we'll cover that in a future episode when we know more. So the one thing about this game that looked most interesting to me is that it's a very similar setup to most farming games. Your relative helped found a town, and you decide to go out there a long time afterwards. But the interesting thing about this one is that the farm that you take over is just a wild forest, and you might say that's not unusual. Stardew did that. There are other games that have done that. However, what does seem interesting is that it doesn't seem like it's a very constrained farm. It seems like it's quite large. So, when you're in there, the trailer suggests that you can find lots of things like other buildings and even mines and stuff like that. So to me, it sounds like it's going to be quite a big area to farm on, which is really good. I like this. You seem to be able to build it out in quite a lot of different ways as well. There's lots of other things. So, for example, they have paths now in the game. You've had that in other non-Story Seasons games, but I don't think they've actually had paths in a Story Season game, unless someone can correct me. This is where it would be good to have Rochelle on, because she would know immediately. I don't remember there being any. So we'll see what if I'm wrong in a future episode, I'm sure. In terms of the character customization, you can customize things like your hairstyle, your hair color, your clothing, which has obviously happened before, eye color and voice, which is all very good. There are 2 new key items that are in the game that we know of. There's a camera item, so obviously there's going to be some sort of photography in this game. And there's also a bucket, which the only thing you can see them doing in the trailer is emptying out a big puddle. So I don't know where that will come into things. Is it just clearing land? Are you doing something else? I don't know. Well, it'll be interesting to find out. The fishing minigame seems to be different from previous games, and it's more on the kind of style of Stardew, where you've got a little minigame to fish rather than just pressing it at the right time. Some people like that, some people dislike that. I have to try it out to see how it works and see how I feel that goes. I do sometimes feel like fishing in Story of Season games can be a little bit not necessarily boring, but just kind of stale. In that it's just press a button, which is it's fine. And I can see how people would find the minigame a bit annoying. But it's an interesting change, considering they've had the just press the button to fish for so long, and now they're changing that up. So that's interesting. The marriage seems to work pretty much the same as in how it did in the Friends of Mineral Town remake. And that includes same-sex marriage, which in Japan it does seem to be still being referred to as best friend ceremony, but marriage elsewhere. So that's that. In this game you have the Earth sprites, is what they're called in this one, and the thing about this one is they seem to, when you find them, you unlock new areas. And some examples that we can see are a volcano and an island in the sky. So these sound really interesting. Don't know if there's other things you can do with them. So, for example, can you use them to help automate your farm? These sorts of things, possibly. But they do seem to give you other areas, which presumably will have other things, like maybe some crops you can get, maybe some animals. Presumably, it's not just going to be a blank area. So that will be interesting as well. All in all, it looks it's the first new mainline Story of Seasons game since Trio of Towns. Since then, we had Doraemon and we had the Friends of Mineral Town remake. Doraemon was obviously a new game, but it was very much not like a standard game. It was very different. This game does seem to have more of the style of the Friends of Mineral Town remake, but it's also slightly different. Your character is more normal proportions, more standard human proportions, rather than the kind of very short sprite, kind of Game Boy style sprites, I guess, is what they were trying to get there. So it'll be very interesting to see how this goes. This is very interesting. Yeah. Presumably we'll have much more information about this to come as we move on. It's only 3 months until it comes out in Japan, and 4 months and a wee bit until it comes out in the rest of the world. So that's excitingly soon. It's adding into our already packed 2021 in terms of farming games. So yeah, I hope you're looking forward to this. I'm very much looking forward to this, and yeah, we'll keep you up to date as we get more information. The next piece of information is that we have a firm release date in Japan for Rune Factory 5. So this is now releasing in Japan on the 20th of May 2021. We also have some footage from the game, which I will share the link in the show notes of that. It is obviously very similar in style to Rune Factory 4S, but it's much higher resolution graphics. The character art that comes up when you have a conversation screen, that seems to be animated rather than just a static image, which is interesting. They seem to be moving their mouth when talking, that sort of stuff. The combat and stuff is all much more 3D, and yeah, it looks interesting. I mean, let's be honest, right? I didn't really enjoy Rune Factory 4S. I might not enjoy Rune Factory 5. I'm definitely going to try it. It looks really good. Like graphics wise, it looks really good. And yeah, it's very definitely the next Rune Factory. It feels very much in the same style as previous Rune Factories, but it also feels very modern. as opposed to Rune Factory 4S, which just felt like a kind of it just felt like a ported game, which is exactly what it was, but it just felt like a ported game. Whereas this one feels like, it's brand new. They've built it with thinking about the future and thinking about how games are in the 2020s. They've also announced that in Japan there's going to be a premium box, collector's edition type thing, which will include some art and some, it looks like an art book and some other things. Presumably the soundtrack. It's hard to tell from that, and I don't speak Japanese, so that's how that is. So Rune Factory 5, release date 20th of May 2021 in Japan. They're saying it's coming out in 2021 elsewhere. We don't have a date on that one yet, but we'll come to you as we do. The next piece of news is that Forager, the pseudo farming game, but realistically it's mostly a combat game, right? That, let's be honest, I already own twice, is now out on iOS for, I think it was £8 or was that probably $10, something like that. I won't be buying it on iOS because I only have an iPad, but I believe it's coming out to Android as well, although they've not announced that yet. They've not announced when it's happening. It's already out on iOS as you're listening. But to be honest, when it comes to Android, I probably will buy it for my phone because it's a very good game and it feels like it'll work quite nicely on a phone. We'll see. So Forager on iOS, out now. If you've been looking for it, then you can go get that. It's a good game. I highly recommend it. And the final piece of news is just a small thing that Farmer Supreme, one of the Kickstarters that we were talking about in our last episode, and one that I'm really excited for, has hit its funding goal with a few days to go. So that's very exciting. If you were looking to get that game will now definitely be getting made. It's hit its funding goal. It's great when someone hits their funding goal. So that's all of the news. I'm now going to go and run you through what's in the Stardew Valley Collector's Edition. I have done this in a bit of an odd way, so I don't know whether it will work, and I apologize if it's not very good listening. But what I have done is I've filmed and recorded me unboxing the game, and I'm going to try and cut it down into a good listenable podcast section. So I thought this would be good because I literally received this today and it was perfect timing because I was wondering what I wanted to do for this episode because I hadn't actually thought anything up at this point. And I thought it would be good to go through this in case anyone was thinking about getting it and hasn't already bought it. You can still buy it, I believe. The only thing that you don't get now is it's too late now to get the poster. The poster was a pre-order bonus, whereas if you buy it now, you won't get that, but you will get everything else that's in the section. So yeah, I'm just going to cut through to that, and there we go. Okay, so I received this today. After buying it, I should point out, this was obviously not free. I am not that influential as of yet. Maybe one day, we'll see. And I thought, considering I was going to record the podcast today, I would record an unboxing of this, which is, you may not realise, if you weren't paying attention in the podcast, or if you're watching this separately, because I might be releasing this separately. This is the Stardew Valley limited edition Switch physical release. So I ordered this from Fangamer. I've removed the outer packaging, which was just plastic wrapping, and there it came in the post. And I haven't looked in it yet. It was really hard. I received it much earlier today. It's been about 10 hours since I received it. It was very hard not to open it. So I'm just gonna open it up and see what's in there. I don't know how well this is going to work as a podcast, but I guess we'll find out. Okay, so it is a very nice set of things. Very nice packaging. So it comes with a little booklet for other Fangamer things. A lovely little piece of art from Shovel Knight. Not what I bought, but that's fine. It looks like it's a series of collectibles that you can get through buying Fangamer things. I don't have enough money to get many more of them. We also have, because I pre-ordered it, the Stardew Valley poster. It looks really nice. All the characters are on there. Lots of animals and a bunch of crops. And some stuff down with... what's his name? It's been too long since I played it. The guy in the sewer. And yeah, it's a nice poster. So I also bought the guidebook because I didn't previously have that, but I'll put that to the side just now because that isn't part of the standard limited edition Stardew Valley. There's also a sticker. I think it's a Fangamer sticker. Looks like the logo there with another character on it. Right. And then comes the main thing. So, as with everything in the world nowadays, it is wrapped in another layer of plastic. That probably won't make or break your decision as to whether to buy this. But there we go. So it's got a sleeve on it, which has the same art that's on the front of the box. But the box doesn't have the... So we've got the Nintendo Switch logo, the characterization, whatever it's called, the age, the Fangamer logo, information on the back. The box has none of that, so it's a lovely looking box. Open the box. Inside the box we obviously have the game case for the actual cartridge. Another layer of plastic, as with everything. And then inside, we've obviously got the famed physical Stardew Valley cartridge. And an unusual thing to find in Switch games nowadays is a little booklet with it's like a mini guidebook. That's really nice. So it gives you a little introduction to the game, some bits of information about the different farmlands and stuff like that. It's very nice. I won't show too much of it because that'll kind of ruin the effect if you decide to get it yourself. But there's bits on fishing and farming, and some basic tips as well, and the art on the back as well. Although I think that's a different piece of art. Oh, so it looks like we've got two pieces of art. We've got one which is on the box and the back of the booklet, and then we have the cartridge box, sorry, and then we have the case, and then we have the other one which is on the front of the main box. It also came with a little one with a code on the back, which I'm not going to show you, obviously, which gives me 15% off Stardew Valley products in Fangamer. I might give that away because, let's be honest, I think I've bought everything I'm going to buy. So that's that. Put that to the side just now. Okay. So next we have the collector's edition comic, which is kind of nice sepia tone. I'll be nice to look through that. But yeah, that's really nice. It's a reasonably short, but it's one of these things where you appreciate what you get. You know, you don't buy these sorts of limited edition things for massive comics. Next, we have the wonderful Deed of Land. I will need to put that up somewhere. It's very nice. It's got a lovely it's almost I think it's embossed with gold, or it's a gold like thing. It's obviously not actually gold, and then you can probably see against the light the outline is also gold. It's very nice. It's not just a bit of paper. Next we have the cleaning cloth, the Stardew Valley cleaning cloth. Almost looks too good to use. What is next? This is the... Oh, let's organise this. So this is the... So this here is the pin, which has a protective paper covering on it. And there we go, I finally got the protective cover off. It's a very nice looking pin. Friend of the Forest. I'm going to keep that safe somewhere. And the final thing is this 6-piece wooden standee, which has a lot of instructions. We've got the base, we've got 5 uprights that go into the base, and we have instructions on how to do it. So we'll just, I think we'll put that together. Why not? Okay, so each of the pieces of this, like the pin, have the same protective covering, which is incredibly stressful to remove, which is why I'm not doing it on camera. So the standee is a very nice little display. Feels nice and solid. And it looks really good. If you're listening to this in the podcast, I'll have a link to some pictures and possibly a video showing this. But it's a very nice little standee. I'll need to find somewhere for that to live. So just to go over that again, what it comes in the box with is we have our standee. It also comes with a wooden pin. You have your cleaning cloth, microfiber cleaning cloth. Your deed to the farm. Collector's edition comic. the poster, but only if you pre-ordered. And of course the cartridge in a case with a booklet. And the box looks lovely. That's the Stardew Valley Collector's Edition. I also got the guidebook, the 3rd edition of the guidebook, which I'm sure will be out of date in a matter of months when the next version of the game comes out. Yes, and it clarifies that it is the 1.4 update. This is a lovely looking guidebook. It is a hardback guidebook, and the art inside of it is varying styles and all lovely. We have a lovely credits page. And it has a lot of stuff in it. I'm obviously not going to go through all that because there's a lot of stuff in it, and obviously the point of having the guidebook is for the stuff inside of it. But I can certainly say that it is a lovely looking book, and I'm sure I will use it because it might be a bit nicer than using the internet sometimes. So again, that is the Stardew Valley Collector's Edition and Guidebook. And yeah, so if you were looking at whether to get them or not, hopefully I've given you a bit of information about them. If you have any more questions about them, please let me know. Please let me know. Okay, so that was my summary of the Stardew Valley Collector's Edition. I hope it was useful to you. If it wasn't, I'm sorry. That's the podcast. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I am at thescottbot. If you want to follow Rochelle, our other co-host, you can find her on Twitter at Miss Delaney. If you want to follow the podcast on Twitter, that's THS Pod. The letters THS POD. If you want to email us, you can do that on our website, harvestseason.club. We read all the emails, and to be honest, we talk about most of them on the podcast. So if you want to get your name on the podcast, that's the easiest way to do it. And on the website, you can also find a link to our Patreon if you wish to support us in this endeavor. If you don't, or you can't afford it, that's totally fine. We totally understand that. This content is 100% free and will stay that way. We do, however, have a Patreon-specific podcast, which is additional stuff. It's not stuff we cut from the podcast. It's additional stuff that we do, and you can find that on the Patreon. Links to all these things will be in the show notes, as well as links to previous stuff. Thank you all very much for listening. Until next time, have a good harvest.
The Harvest Season is created by Rochelle Delaney and Al McKinley, with support from our pro farmer level patrons, Kevin and Stuart. Our art is done by Micah the Brave, and our music is done by Nick Burgess. Feel free to visit our website, harvestseason.club, for show notes and links to things we discussed in this episode. Thanks for listening.